Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Nurses Breakroom with Jenny Lytle, RN. Today we are going to start a new season and we're going to really be focusing on hospice work. And part of that is because I've been a hospice nurse for 20 years now, and I am so passionate about being able to help others in hospice really fit their own needs in without feeling like they're neglecting everybody else, without feeling like it's selfish, and without feeling like it's another full-time job, because we're all busy. I continue to work in hospice. My role is a little different now. I also have a full-time day job in addition to the work that I do with hospice nurses and other stressed out professionals. So this is going to be something that's really digging into that a bit more. And so I know that as a hospice nurse, as a hospice professional, it can be very difficult to just leave your work behind you at the end of a shift. We bring home charting a lot of the times. And so this is really for you if you feel like your work is still with you after your shift ends. And what that can look like is maybe you're replaying conversations that you've had. Maybe you're second guessing yourself, things that you could have done differently, something that you wish you would have said or done, or maybe something that you would have said in a different way or responded to something more quickly than you did another thing, because we're always making these judgments, we're making these judgment calls, and there's frequently lots of things that are competing for our time and our attention at once. And it's hard to know in the moment exactly what to focus on the most, what is the highest priority. Sometimes it's obvious, but sometimes it's only in hindsight. And that's something that can weigh heavily on us. Also, when we're in homes, when we're talking with families and our patients, they tell us these stories of their lives and the way things have gone. And sometimes, sometimes they're very happy stories and we're sad for them to be losing those type of things. And sometimes they're really horrific stories of the way that maybe their diagnosis and their care has gone. And that's something that's heavy as well. And so, just understanding that the things that you're feeling, the things that we feel are normal, and it's a byproduct of the work that we do. It's something that we can love what we're doing, and still it can take a toll. And those kind of feelings are common in hospice. It doesn't mean that you're weak or that you have poor boundaries, although that may be another issue as well. I know it sure was for me. But it's about that deep caring. It's about the deep presence that we have when we're with our patients, when we're with our families. It's the fact that this is very sacred work. And that can be a blessing, and that also can be something that's very hard if we don't have a plan in place. Because the issue isn't that we're caring too much, it's that we're not able to set that work aside, that we don't have a plan in place for kind of transitioning, that we don't have a way to set the work down and move into our regular lives so that we can refill ourselves, we can refill our own cup, we can come back ready and able to carry that weight again, because it can be very heavy. So just a bit of permission, because sometimes we feel like we need that. We feel like we have all of these other things. And so I am nobody, I am nobody special to give you permission, but I'm telling you, from one hospice nurse to another, from one very caring person to another, sometimes, yes, you just need that permission to take time for yourself. And it doesn't mean that you have to get tougher. It doesn't mean that you have to start caring less. It just means that you need a place and a process to release some of that stress, to release some of that tension that's so easy to carry. And I am in the midst of revamping the Nurses Breakroom, and it's a place where we can go and exhale a bit and have a place to be with others who get the things that we experience, and do that in a positive but not Pollyanna kind of way, but in a proactive and a learning way, not just a place to vent, although that is super important to do sometimes, but a place to really figure out, like, what can we do moving forward? How can we change things a little bit so that it doesn't weigh so heavily on us, so that we can continue to show up as our best selves. And so until next time, remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's the only way that we can continue to show up for others and live our best lives. Have a wonderful week.